Okay, so I'm
or
working on
continue.
the
Yeah.
okay, so I'm working on the extended version of Don't Knock, which is the paranormal dark romance. I just finished Blow, which is going to be in the female little Pretty Little Slashers, the female anthology. I did the short version of Don't Knock is in the Halloween horror show anthology. I just this morning wrote the 1,000 word thrills, like the short story contest that's going around Facebook right now. I was invited yesterday into a tarot. It's like a major tarot collection series where everybody writes their own story, and it has to be based on the tarot card you select. So that like was invited into that yesterday. And of course, the story already popped in my head of what I wanted to go to. I chose the death card because I mean that's the kind of stuff I write, even though it not just means death, it can mean rebirth too. So it kind of ties it all together. And a story already is in my head. So I'll have to like write that soon. And then there's a Christmas one that we're doing right now that is it's an with myself that each author writes a chapter like an advent. So I led off the chart. Christy's coming. Yay. I led off the chapters. I wrote the first chapter, and then the next author takes that chapter, and then they read and they decide where they want the story to go from there. And then when they're done, the next author does the same thing. So we're up to like I think chapter 17 now. So we're just like, and it's like one of those things where you got to read it and try to keep the consistency without being a plot hole and keeping the characters' personalities consistent, even though the author writing styles are different. And it's a little hard, and we're having like, we're kind of like fumbling along, but I have faith in it. That's going to be really good when it's done. Like we've got a lot of good authors in it, so it's working out pretty well right now.
Good. Good.
Trying to think if there's another one. I feel like there's one more Christmas one that I was already told to keep it under 15,000. A.B. Donaldson is in a couple of these the authors with me, and she's like, Melissa, she's like, you got to keep it under 15, and then someone else was like, they have the same problem. They can't keep it under 15,000, but we're going to make an honest effort. And I already had an idea in my head. So I was like, told myself though, after this, no more anthologies till I get my other stories done because I have so many other things I'm supposed to be working on. I got to get Don't Knock finished. I have the You Should Have Kept Driving series. I have those three done. I was doing character volumes after how I ended the third book was like it's going to be Willow Academy Volume 1, and it's going to be one of the characters telling his story, like from like how he started out and why he made the decisions he made. And then I'm going to do, 4 other characters, maybe 5. I haven't decided yet. No one knows that yet, but I might bring one more character in that I was going to keep it all to the good guys, but I might bring in just one bad guy, just Griffin from the first story. I might pull in his backstory with a little bit of side of Benny in there, but nobody knows that. So now it's just me, you, and if Christy's listening, she knows that now too. But so I want to pull the volumes together, and I'm debating if I should release them individually or do it as a special edition with like all 3 books and the volumes in like paperback or hardcover. I think I'm going to do them separate. So, kind of keep the anticipation up and then release it all together later in like one big book. And then that will be the end of it. Because I know when 3 was done, everybody's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's over and you should just do more. And I'm just like, I didn't want to go past 1. I originally, it was just, You Should Have Kept Driving. It was supposed to be that, and it was supposed to be it. But then everybody's like, oh, you got to do more. We need more of Ari and Odie. We need more of their banter. We got to see where this goes. So then I wrote 2. And then how I ended it, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to do 3 now. So then I'm like, that's it. That's it. Everybody's like, oh, come on. I'm like, no, that's it. I got to stop. Because I feel like I don't like sequels to anything because I feel like it's kind of similar to movies where nothing's as good as like the original. Like everybody loves the original. But I mean, a lot of people I tell you can just read You Should Have Kept Driving and it can be read by itself. But most people want to keep going. They want to see where it goes because they love the characters, Ari and Odie. So did that answer your question? I don't even remember what the question was. Terrible.
I've seen that the cover won some contests, some awards. It's a very unique cover. How did you come up with that idea?
Which was the question?
Wait, because how did you come up with the idea of the cover?
I actually didn't. So I have a cover artist who I use all the time. Her name is Frina Art, and she has like a ton of pre-made. She doesn't use AI or anything. She's been doing it for years. So I scroll through her covers and I saw this and like it like spoke to me. And I was like, I can make a hell of a good serial killer story out of that cover. And it's like she altered it a little bit. She changed the eyes. She added the extra guy because it was originally just one guy walking. And then she obviously changed the title a little bit, but and then she did the back for me. But I like saw like the bloody hands on the face, and I'm just like, oh, I got a story for that. And that happens like sometimes. Libitina was the same way. I saw the cover on her pre-mades and I was like, I love that cover. I got a story for that cover. So a lot of times I pick the cover before the story is even chosen. The only exception is I think Blow, I sent her what I want the cover to look like. I sent her the mock-up and she put it together for me because I don't know. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. And then she put it together for me. And then I'm trying to think of what other so the prickling was a pre-made cover. She did that already, had it made, and I made a story to go with it. So a lot of times it's just seeing one of her covers and I'm like, oh, I got a good story for that. She has a lot that I'm just like, I love that. I can make a good story out of that. But I'm like, I don't have time right now. But like the prickling cover I have for that book, I only paid like $35 for it. She had a sale. And then You Should Have Kept Driving was like 85. So it's like a lot of times she'll just have flash sales and I'll get lucky and the cover I want is on there. So, but she's a really good cover artist. She does interior art and stuff like that too. But I mean, I just saw that those eyes and then the blood, and I'm just like, I need to do a female serial killer. You hear a lot about male serial killers a lot in stories, but not as much about female serial killers, and especially one that actually has a purpose for what she does, no matter how twisted it might be.
Yeah.
How did you come up with a character like that?
Um,
Like all the elements, the all the trigger warnings actually. Did you think
so
like, yeah?
I always say to my husband, because I always say I like his smell. This is funny. I like his smell. And I always tell him that if he was the last man on earth, I'd barbecue his thighs over an open fire with some sauce. And, and he always tells me I'm sick and gross about it. But I'm just like, I'm like obsessed with his thighs. It's so just random and weird. But I was like, what if I made like character that's like obsessed with man thighs? But she actually eats them. And I'm like, it's just the stupid, weird stuff that goes into my head. I don't know why. It's like it just popped in my head, like, ooh, that'd be good. And then like stories and stuff I hear of people, things happening to people, and um like it's trying to all messages together because a lot of stuff I write has truth built into it, things that have happened to me, someone I know. The part in there about Ari blowing up a garage, that's like based on a real person who did blow up a garage, set fire to a garage. And then in the book 2 where she steals an iguana, she really did that in real life. So Ari's kind of based on a real person. And a lot of the stuff that I put in my stories is stuff that I've pulled from my life, people I know, stuff like that. And like in the story, she like loves mashed potatoes and she talks about how butter makes everything better. I say that all the time. I'm like, butter makes everything better. And I always say you can add anything to like ingredients and flavors to anything and make it taste good. So I'm like, why not a serial killer who can like make her food taste good and make candied bacon thigh meat in the oven. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. My husband says I'm like crazy and weird, and he's like, you shouldn't talk to people like that. They're gonna put you away. And I'm like, if the FBI hasn't done it for things I've searched on my internet engine yet, then it's fine. It's just fine. I don't know. Ideas just come into my head, and it's just funny how quick it happens and how easy it comes for me. Sometimes I have, like I brought Taryn Wheatley on for my third book. She actually helped me a little with book 1, a lot more with book 2, and then she helped me with book 3. Carla's here. And because I have the ideas sometimes are all in my head, but I have sometimes a hard time putting it into words that aren't like a short description or not very descriptive, or because of my ADHD, I'll think inside my head how it looks in the room and how the room smells, but I don't put it on paper. It's like my brain just skips that part, and it's like it goes right to typing whatever. And it's like it should be more detailed. So I told her we call it adding meat to the story. So she'll read something I wrote and she'll put more meat, or you need to add more. What's the room look like? What does she feel? What is the smell? So she's really helped me in that sense pull that part out of me to help me with my writing better. And she's actually commented on Don't Knock, how she said it, you can tell you're getting it. You're starting to like pull that in there. Like if you read the first book I ever wrote, Sedera, you'd be like, oh my gosh, this had potential, but Lord have mercy, this book needs some help. But then you can see as you read each book going forward, they get better and better and better and better as I'm figuring it out, because I had no formal training or anything like that. It's just something that I had a friend who I was working with, and her and I talked before about writing a book about our lives and things we've been through and stuff. She had a hard life too, and we always talked about it. And I told her what I wanted to write. I said I would just make something crazy with like smut, and she started laughing, and she's like, "You should totally do it." Like the next week, she passed away suddenly. She had like an embolism, and I was like devastated. So that like pushed me into writing my first story. And from there, it was like, it just clicked. I loved it. It like pulled all the crap rolling around my head, the fear, pain, anything I've been through, trauma, whatever. It just kind of pulled it out of my head and threw it into my books. And it actually helped me, I think, emotionally and psychologically. It helped me heal about a lot of things, and to not be so stuck on stuff in the past and worry so much about the future. I just don't, it's not that I don't care as much. It's just, it doesn't impact me as much as it used to since I started like putting stuff in my writing. Like if you read something of mine and you're like, I wonder if that really happened, you can always ask me. I don't care. I'll tell you. Did it happen? Yeah, it did happen. Or no, nope, that was a lie. Did I poop behind someone's house and it rolled down a hill? Did I? Maybe I did. It was a desperate moment. I mean, that was in like Ari moments in the story, but I'm not worried about what other people think as much in between, like anymore, like I used to be. I used to be all like quiet and, try to keep to myself and worry about what people thought, or if they could see, something in me or whatever that they shouldn't. Now I'm just like, whatever, it's me. I don't care anymore. I let it all go. It's all in my stories. And, if anybody has questions, they can always ask, and I don't care.
Are all your books horror? Because the truth is that I haven't checked your whole catalog. So is everything horror, or you write you also have thriller or erotic?
So the short story ornamental I did is like that's in the Thrills and Chills anthology. I forgot about that one. That one was supposed to be more comedic horror, but I'm not sure if everybody who read it was like, yeah, that's comedic horror. I was trying to be funny, but also it was kind of like disturbing, but it's the same thing. I kind of try to put a little humor in stuff when I write. The Prickling was dark, psychological. The Unnerving was a youth adult short story, paranormal mystery. That one, I'd say The Unnerving is based the most on true to life experiences. Like if you were to read it and you'd be like, this can't be true, or this can't have happened. It's the one, it's the closest, probably I'd say, that has the most. It's the shortest story, but it has the most true to life facts packed into it. Like it's one of the stories I need to add more to it and give it more meat, as Taryn says. But my brain has a hard time going backwards once it's set on something and it goes forward all the time. I'm trying to think. Sidera was dark. Libitina was a religious horror. That was more no spice. That was more with um like what's going on in the world and stuff like that, and like the consequences of our actions and stuff like that. And that one had a more deeper meaning. So it's like I went from writing a religious horror to writing You Should Have Kept Driving, which is like the total opposite of each other.
Well,
So and I
Christy said that she found it. I thought it was comedic, so I guess she's talking about
Oh,
the
for
other one that you wrote.
ornamental. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to be funny. I mean, I want to like my goal is to do a letter of every alphabet for books. Um, so it's like every book I write, I'm trying to write with a different letter of the alphabet. I do want to do one that's a true story called How High. And I wanted to like, because I have so many people who smoke marijuana and I want to do a funny story of different funny things that happened to them while they were too high to realize like what they were doing. Like just I want to do something really like a funny part, but also like pull in seriousness about it too. Like you were so high you did what? But I wanted to be a true story. So I wanted to do at least one true story. And it would be each chapter would be each person I spoke to, including mine, because I have in the past, it's been a while, smoked marijuana, had things happen where I'm like, I can't believe I don't remember that, but I just want it to be a true story. So people read it and they're like, oh my gosh, can that really happen when you smoke marijuana? It's a silly thing I just wanted to do. So it's going to be eventually one of the things I write about, which I don't think I've told anybody else. So Carly and Christy and you guys are the only ones that probably know about that story I want to do eventually.
So have you figured out a letter, a title that starts from X? I'm so curious because you said that you want to do from the alphabet.
Oh, X, that's going to be a hard one. That's like one that a lot of people don't
That
don't like online. It's like X is for whatever, or just X, or I don't really know. I haven't figured it out if I'm just going to do like Xavier, or I guess I'd have to look up all the words that start with X and find one that like I don't know. That's a hard one. X is a hard one. That's probably going to be the last one I do.
I was just curious.
Yeah, that anthology or the collections thing I just got into that I'm going to do my own individual stories called In the Cards. And I'm like, oh, I got my eye. There's my eye. I got my eye. It's just going to be a story in a collection called In the Cards, but there's my eye. I have my eye, which that one would have probably been easy. But yeah, X I think is going to be probably the hardest. Y was an easy one. Z I can probably fumble through. Zipper, I don't know. I can do zipper. I don't know. But X is a hard one. There's not a lot of good words that go with X. I don't know. I guess I'll figure that out. You guys will be the first to know because I'll post it and be like, I've found my X.
I'm curious because I only know one book, the ex-members of the Facebook group from the psychological thriller group.
I've seen that one, and I've seen like I think is it Sue Grafton that did X? It just says X. It's just one big X on the front of the book. I haven't read books in forever, but I would Google it. But there's Nick nail polish on my phone. But there's like a big X on the front of the book. I don't know. Do you know, Jonas, what it is? I just know it's one big X. I think I want to say Sue Grafton for some reason is sticking in my head, but it might not be that. It's a book. It just is literally the title is X. And I don't remember who wrote it.
She did they did a series of the alphabet. I think my memory serves me correctly, and I could be wrong. Yeah, that's it. It's called X. Somebody
Carla
just said
it's
yeah.
Carla.
Carla said, yeah, it's called X. So it's like I can't cheat and use that. I thought so. I was like, man, it's sticking out in my head. Someone did just the letter X. But I don't, X is a tough one. I'm going to have to really come up with something good.
Well, the interesting thing you could try would be to use X in a abbreviation, say X-ray, because it still starts with X. And
I thought about X-ray, but that's kind of like an obvious one. I was thinking, I'd think of something like X marks the spot.
And
Maybe.
Xmas, people use Xmas.
Oh yeah, that's valid. Xmas is another one, or there's X marks the spot, Xmas. Marks an extra spot with a map on it, the cover. So you know what you're doing? You know what you're doing, Jonas? You're putting ideas in my head. Stop it. I got too much to do. I don't have time for this right now. Stop it. We're gonna get off the X now because it's gonna be in my head now, and then I'm gonna have to think of a story to go with an X with a map, and it's gonna be X marks the spot. And now you see what you're doing, you're starting, stop it.
Or exact.
Yeah.
Or you could do Xmas.
What?
We just said X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has enough going on, Carla says.
Yeah.
You have enough going on, yeah.
Okay. Questions, Jonas?
Oh, no, I really just wanted to know what else she was working on, which I've already asked. And
There's like 8,000
how about
things.
this one? From beginning to end, for a book like You Should Have Kept Driving, how long would it take you to do the first draft? I'm not talking how long does it take from beginning to writing it till it's published. Just you've got a draft now that you could send to an editor, you can send to a beta readers. How long would it take you? A month, 2 months, a year?
It's probably like 4 months usually. At least
Okay.
4 months. At least 4 months. Because I'll get it. Like I have read as I go betas who I've got about 5 of them who I send a few chapters a week and they read what I'm writing so far. Let me know if there's a plot hole or something. Taryn actually is helping me too with Don't Knock a little bit. I'll send her chapters here and there and she like puts in if I need to add anything else and stuff like that. So she's really good about helping me add that stuff. But they get a few chapters every week. I usually give it to them on Fridays, and usually by the next Friday, everybody's had their comments, put their notes, said, add more here. What about this? Or this art part already happened, or you said this twice. And that way I can clean it up a little bit as I go. And then once they're done, I read the whole thing from front to back and try to fill in and fix anything that might seem like out of sorts and stuff like that. And then I have my full beta readers who I send those to, which sounds funny. There's like 30 of them. Because I find that you could have like 10 betas and everybody thinks they found the mistakes. And I think I found all the mistakes. And then you let 5 more people read and then they all find mistakes. And it's like, I mean, even professionally edited stories, I've seen people post online where mistakes found here, mistakes found there. So it's like, I feel like the more eyes on it is the better option. And then I have my ARCs who I send my stuff to after that, which that is like 20 people who read it after everybody else has read it. And they're kind of like my last resort people because editing is so expensive and I don't have the funds for it. I don't work. So it's like what I make off my stories is what I make. And it's not like enough to pay for editing and, have a proofreader and stuff like that do the story.
Right. So about 4 months. Not too bad. That's pretty good.
Rough, because my brain's like, as you can tell by how I talk, it's like, and I get stuck on something, and I'm sometimes like I try to cut off my writing by like noon if I can, but if I get on a roll, I'm doing it straight through the day, and then my husband's calling, like I'm on my way home, and I'm like, I got an hour to run to the house and clean to make it look like I haven't done anything but write all day. I like writing though. It's like my thing to do. So now I try to he helps me too on the weekends. We clean the whole house. So I have the first few days of the week, I don't worry about cleaning at all. I just work on writing and getting stuff like done. Like I'll write for like 6 to 7 hours at a time. And then later in the week, I try to keep it to a half the amount of time so I can take care of all my chores I'm ignoring.
Do you listen to music when you write?
No, I have to have silence. Like that's why it's hard with my dogs sometimes to like stand here. He's like in the other room whining. I'm on my front porch because there's nowhere I can go in my house that he can't get to me. But he like sits and stares at me and he just whines and whines and whines. And I'm like, be quiet. I need my own room. Because the only thing I have in my bedroom, I have like, it used to be a porch. and they like enclosed it, the people who lived here before, and there's no windows, and I have to have a window. I don't like sitting in like a room with no window. So I keep telling my husband when we can afford it, I want to get a window. So then I can sit in my office and actually, because right now my office is just for boxing up books and signing stuff and, you know, packing things and all that stuff. I actually don't write in there. I usually write at my dining room table because there's like a nice big window in front of me with a tree outside and there's birds. The lady who lives next door, she's got a bird feeder, and which is kind of distracting sometimes because you see all these cool birds at the bird feeder, but at the same time it's like relaxing and calm. So I like, did that answer the question? I forgot the question again. So
Hope it answered
bad.
the
I'm so
question.
sorry. I'm
Oh,
so
you
terrible.
answered the question. You answered the question. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
But I forgot what I wanted to ask now. So
I'm rubbing off on you. I do that to people. I rub off on people. Pretty soon you'll be walking in a room and like, what am I doing here?
maybe Christy has a question or Carla. Let's see.
Trying to like, can I see the chats down here? Oh, I thought it was communic. Oh, my lips are sealed. Love the super secret info. She has enough to go on. Oh, okay, they're talking about number fun. I was trying to keep up with their chats as they were coming through.
Yeah. So you have around 50 people on your team? Like you have
Yeah,
50 people. I love the
yeah.
spray, the edges that you do on the covers, on the
I
books, on the
actually have a
side.
girl. She's a lavender lattes home goods, I think is the website. She's on Etsy and she was in a book group and she was one of my ARCs. And she told me she did edge spraying and she sent me some samples and her and I hit it off. So what I do is I order books and then I send them to myself first, sign them, and send them to her, and she sprays them and puts them in her shop. And if I want some back, she just mails them back to me, and then she'll just take whatever profit she makes and uses that to pay for the books, and she uses that to send it back to me. And if there's a difference left over, then I get it when she sells them in the shop. So the ones she has in the shop are usually signed copies right from me. At first, I was sending them to her, and then she'd send them to me edge sprayed. And I'm like, now I have to sign them and send back some to her. So I was like, I'll just send them to myself first, unsprayed, and then sign them and send them to her, and she can just keep them in her shop. So that's what we did.
Okay.
We've
Carla
got
is
a
asking, yeah, are you a pantser or a plotter?
Oh, I'm a pantser all the way. When You Should Have Stayed Dead, the third book in the trilogy, was the first time I did an outline. And that's because Taryn's like, let's do an outline so you don't forget what you're doing and where you're going with the story. So that was the first time I actually used an outline with it to make sure I kept the events in the right order without forgetting where I was. Other than that, I'm a pantser all day long. It just goes from my brain into onto the computer, and then I go from there and try to figure it out from there.
Okay, I'm the same. I can't plot like to have an outline. I just won't follow it anyway. I do my own thing. So what I also wanted to ask you, I should have written down my questions, but we didn't have the time. We just went from back to back from other retreats and things. And so you get inspired by the book covers,
What was that?
so you're getting you get your inspiration from the book cover. So you see an image and you say that you could write a story. Is there anything else that
Mhm.
inspires you?
Sometimes seeing something or hearing something, or like someone says something about a scenario, or like they tell me a story about something and I'm like, yeah, that would make a good story. Or they say something's creepy, or like I talk about, like in one of the stories, I forget which one it is, my brain is melting right now trying to figure it out. But ornamental, about the guy having waking up with sleep paralysis. And I've had that where I've had like I'm stuck and I can't move, and there's like this creature in the corner of my room, and or the dog's growling at me and weird stuff, but I'm like I can't move, but I'm wide awake kind of thing. So sometimes it's something that's happened to me that um brings the story out, like I pull it into the story, or it makes me want to write about it in a story. um like there's no specifics event or story specific that was all completely based on one specific thing. I don't think. Maybe the unnerving is probably, like I said before, the closest one that comes to something that happens in real life. That was I was dating a kid in high school, and his name was Jamie, which is in the story, his name is Jamie too. But we like it was one of those things where you meet somebody and you're instantly like in love. It was like instant love, but I was also a teenager, whatever. But and my parents and my friend's parents were like, you know, you can't date him or you're going to be grounded, you're never going to see your friends again, and blah blah blah. So I broke up with him, and he went, like he was so upset with me and like all this stuff, and like and then he just like disappeared from my life. I never saw him again after that, never talked to him again after that. So in the book he's murdered, which he is murdered, but like probably 4 years later, after him and I broke up, by
Oh,
his
geez.
then girlfriend, who stabs him. And after he was dead, I did have like some, like I had senses he was there. Like I'd be like sitting in a room and like something would roll across the floor, and then I'd gone into my bedroom once and I heard someone say my name, and I turned around, there was nobody there, and I swear it was him. And it was just one of those things where it was like, I always say I had some regrets because we were very, very close. We weren't together like but like a week. And it was just one of those things where I feel like if I would have never broke up with him, he would still be alive, because he wouldn't end up who he was with, and his girlfriend wouldn't have stabbed him. Do you know what I mean? And she killed him. So it was just one of those things where I felt like he was trying to come and tell me, like, maybe he didn't blame me. You know what I mean? It felt like I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. My hair on the back of my neck is standing up. And and it was just one of those things where I felt like maybe he was just trying to come and tell me that he didn't blame me for leaving him. You know what I mean? I didn't know how else to explain it. But that's probably the only one that's really close. Like in the story, I put a twist on it and all this stuff like that of who really killed him. And but it wasn't like his girlfriend in the story. It was something else. So I just put a twist on it to make it less close to the full truth, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. What a story.
Yeah.
Who would you say is your top authors? Who do you read? Who do you gravitate to?
Well, so before like last year, I hadn't read a book in like 15 years. The only reason why I read back then, 15 years ago, I worked at a hotel for years, and I worked in the afternoon, or the 3 to 11 shift, or the 11 to 7 shift. So I had a lot of time to read. And back then I read a lot of Patricia Cornwell. Like I'm excited. There's supposed to be a series coming, and I really hope they do. It comes soon. I can't remember when that's coming, but there's supposed to be a series coming. And read all the like One for the Money, the Janet Evanoviches. I think I got up to like 14 before I stopped reading. That I like that humor all mixed in with the crime kind of stuff. And then I read some of Dean Koontz, and I think Stephen King. The only one I actually read was A Green Mile. I don't know if you guys remember this or if my age is showing, but when they released it as a series of books, but it was the whole story, but it was individual books. So I read that, and then me and my friend binge watched the movie when it came out on what do you call it, DVD. It was like 2 parts, or it was either DVD or VHS. I don't remember. It's been years. I'm pretty sure it was DVD, and we binge watched the whole thing. It was on 2 different discs because it was so long. But I feel like that is like the closest to a book that I've ever read in a story that was very close to the book. Like, you know, they say, oh, the book's always better. But like I loved Green Mile, and I felt it was very true to the story.
Yeah. Any current authors? You said it was a break of 15 years,
So
but
the
in the last
first
year?
book I read after my drought of 15 years, I read Crimson Chains by Sienna Ray. And I really like her writing style. It's very descriptive in like not a cheap sort of way. It's like, I don't know, I don't want to say big words, but words I understand, but words I wouldn't think of using. She's like, I really like her writing style. So I read her book. And right now I'm working on Jed Kent's Black Spots. But it's not that I'm having a hard time reading it. It's that my brain has a hard time slowing down long enough to read something, period. So I'm like, I'm almost done with it. I'm like 3/4 of the way done. I made sure I told him, I was like, it's not you, it's me. And then I've read A.V. Donaldson's Craving Murder, which I really like that too. Hers was a serial killer thriller. I like all that serial killer thriller stuff. I'm going to carry you guys with me through my house because my dog's crying and I think you might have to go potty. So you guys are going to get a quick glimpse of my old house that we bought here. Where are you? Come on, you gotta go potty. If I don't, he's probably going to poop on my floor. But now it's all dark. Are you just going to get your cookie? Let's go. Oh, I forgot I have a background. So now you guys can't see my house. Come on, baby. You gotta go poo poo. Go on. He's a Doberman, so he like
big
poops
one.
big if he has an accident. So I don't want him to have an accident.
No, no one would want that.
No, it's pretty gross. Ugh. All right. There, now he's outside. He's not whining on me in my face anymore. Oh, wait, what happened? Why am I so weird looking? That's weird. Well, I'm a ghost now. Oh, there it goes. It's better. I was like a ghost for a moment there.
So if someone watches our Zoom call, which is the book that you would recommend that they would start with? Because we will post it everywhere.
So if they have triggers like what you find in You Should Have Kept Driving, in that sense, with the rape and stuff like that, I wouldn't recommend that to start with. My second favorite book I'd say I've written is Libitina. I really liked that one, came really easy to me and I like the message in it. It's like the only book I have that made me cry. So, and the meaning behind it is pretty powerful. So it's like, it's something that if I had something for people to choose between two books, if they say, what book would you recommend? I'd say, well, if you don't mind, there's triggers in Libitina too, but in a different way. So I would say it's smut versus no smut, So I would say there's like no smut, no nothing like that in Libitina, but there's like a glimpse, there's like a smidgen, like one scene through a door that someone sees, and then that's like the end of it in Libitina, where You Should Have Kept Driving is a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of inappropriateness. So it's like PG-13 versus X-rated. So X-rated, there's another good one. There's an X, another X, X-rated. Hey.
You nailed it.
So I'd say those are my top two. Like with You Should Have Kept Driving, I run it X-rated. So with You Should Have Kept Driving, I really wanted her to be very devious, very out of control, completely bat crazy, as people have been saying, bat shit crazy. But I also wanted to have like a humorous part of it too, where she's got a little dark humor in it. And then, Ari she's just crazy either way. She's a different kind of crazy. So.
Oh, someone just joined. Mandy.
Okay. Oh, people are joining. Oh, good.
What I wanted to ask now was distracted with Mandy. Is there such a theme that you have in your books and you would like to, like when someone reads the book, it's just for entertainment, or you want to say something deeper?
I guess a lot of the themes, there's a lot of dark themes, and some of it is I want people to know they're not alone with these things. No. And he wants to come in here, and I know he's just gonna stick his face in mine. Like just there's people aren't alone, and you know, there's some people, they struggle with things in their own lives, and they may not want to come out of their shell and talk about them or say something. And I feel like it's important to bring it to light. Like human trafficking, you like see a lot of that on television, but you don't hear about it in everyday conversation. Like people don't just randomly start talking about it. And I know what I would do if I could get away with it with people who do such things. And it's like, I'm not afraid to say that. I mean, I would definitely, if I could get away with it, like rid the world of people who do terrible things that are done to people. Or, you know, I think in another life, it could have been a vigilante. I mean, I just feel like, you know, parts of me, there's things that have happened to me in my life when I was younger. My mom passed away when I was 12. And from there, I just kind of went off. My dad was like my dad was my sister's favorite, and my mom was my favorite. So kind of like was alone after. Hi, Mandy. So I was kind of alone after, felt really alone afterwards. So I turned to, you know, alcohol and drugs, and not like heavy drugs, just marijuana, and partied a lot. I had my first child 6 days before my 15th birthday by a man who was 23, if that tells you anything. And from there, it's like I settled down for a little bit, and then I kind of got back into it. Fast forward a couple of years, I'm in jail for assault with a deadly weapon because I had a lot of anger in me. So it's like I have a lot of regrets, but I have a lot of anger that was just like it'd come out at the wrong time. Like somebody would say something, and then I would just turn a switch. But once I got to a certain point in my life, I slowed down a lot, had my second child when I was 23. And from there, I pretty much hardly ever left the house. I didn't go out of the house very much. I feel like I started really kind of realizing that I wasn't doing myself any favors by doing all this dumb stuff that I was doing, and fighting and with people and drinking and all that stuff. And then I met my husband, and it was like from there, he was like, you know, I worked at one point when I met him, I was working 3 jobs and going to college. So when I met him, he was like, you don't need to do this anymore. Let me do some of this for you. And he took a lot off of my plate and said, you know, work 1 job, finish college, get your degree. So I got my degree in science, associate in science degree, with an emphasis in like all the psychologies, because I love psychology. I like aced all the psychology classes, abnormal psychology, child psychology, adolescent psychology, aced them all. It came so easy to me. And then he was like, you know, you got to stop. You got to stop what you're doing. You got to slow down and stay, you know, be a mom to your kids and stuff like that. That I wasn't. It was just my brain was like, I wanted to be with my friends and all this stuff like that. But he really grounded me and made me more family oriented and kind of pulled me out of that nonsense that I was in. So then we had our child, and he's like our wholesome child. So and from there, it's just kind of like, I don't, you know, I don't really think that I kind of ever wanted to go back. It's like now that I'm here where I am, and I look back on where I was and all the dumb stuff I do, you know, drinking and driving, what could have happened, but nothing ever happened, but it could have happened. And, you know, with doing so much, you know, marijuana and all the drinking and the parties, and I'd forget stuff, you know, like that story, how high I was talking about doing. Like someone asked me when I went into a store when I was high, and they were like, where's your daughter? And I'm like, who? And I'm like, my brain was like, who? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I know I'm talking. I know I have a child, but she was, you know, she stayed the night, her grandparents and stuff. I never do all that stuff in front of my kids ever, just to be clear. But it was just, you know, they'd be at the sitters and stay in the night, and I'd go off and do whatever. But destructive behavior, which I think is just kind of rooted into what I went through when I was younger and stuff I went through my teens. just too much. I shouldn't have gone through at that age, so it's like by the time I got to be, an adult and with my husband, it's like I actually had a child that I gave up for adoption. Nobody knows this, so you guys are hearing this for the first time. And she contacted me the other day, so that was really awesome. I haven't heard from her because we did an open adoption, and then we changed it to not, and then she contacted me. So that was awesome to hear from her. And she understood. I was like her, the person who I had, I had, I had her, and the person I had her was not good at all to me. Not at all. And him and I got to a point where I started feeling like I was becoming the violent one. He started becoming afraid of me because something in my head, I don't know, from getting hit too many times or what it was, triggered me to turn off the victim switch and turn on the abuser switch. And I was, hitting him, and I smacked him in the knee with a hammer. I shut his head in the car door. He became afraid of me, and afraid to eat anything I made for him because he was afraid I'd poison him. So it made it, to the point where he stopped because he feared me. And then I got pregnant, and I was just like, I don't want this for her. I don't want this for her, and I don't want her to be stuck with someone like that for the rest of her life. So I made the decision and to put her up for adoption, which is a hard decision, but I knew it was the right decision at that time in my life because I already had one daughter. This was in between my daughter and my first son, that I knew that was the best decision I could make for her at the time. And she and I spoke about that when I talked to her recently, that like 2 months ago, or about a month and a half ago, that she understands and that she's doing great, in her life, and she has 2 kids of her own. And it was important for me to have that healing moment that she understood, because I didn't know if she would ever understand why and if I'd ever hear from her. So when she contacted me it was on TikTok, I think, and sent me a private message, I was like, holy crap, I can't believe I'm hearing from her. She looks just like me. It's so weird. It's like my twin. And she's doing really good. And it made me really proud, and I got that closure that I really needed from that. So, I mean, I don't know if that kind of gives you like any idea of why a lot of what I write is dark, because a lot of what I've experienced in my life was dark. And it really helps me to kind of pull the darkness into my stories to get anything out of my head that's lingering. I feel like I don't think I'll ever stop writing, even though I say I want to do the alphabet writing challenge, because as long as anything's lingering in there, then I feel like I'm going to keep writing until I get it all out. So my stories, once they're finished, if you were to read them all, my entire life would be in everything you read, and it'd be off of me and out of my head and into my stories. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yep.
Yeah.
Certainly does to me. Although, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah. Just wanted to say thank you for sharing all that. I can see from some
Sorry,
of
it
the
was a lot.
comments.
It was just, I felt like sharing today. I know it was probably a lot, and you guys are probably like, holy crap, she's like spilling her beans.
No, it's good. And I see some comments that people were grateful for you to having shared that. One quick thing about writing, some of the pain you've gone through and how cathartic that can be. I've written 58 novels, and I don't think you ever can stop getting it out. All the stuff that you've gone through. So you may get the 26
Right.
books for the letters, and you may get another 5 or 10, but then there's still always more in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it brings a lot out of me, and I pour it into the paper so I don't have to think about it, because I'll be just fine and not thinking about anything, and all of a sudden something pops in my head, and I immediately get my notes app I'll open on my phone, and I'll like type it in there. It could be just like a 1-word line, or something like a phrase or something that comes in my head, or something that happens, and I just write it down, even if I've got like 3 or 4 right now that go to completely different books I haven't even started yet, but I'm like, oh, that would make a good line in a book if I do this or this. And it takes it out of my head and puts it on my phone. So it's not in a book yet, but it will be, but it's something that's in my mind that I can't stop thinking about.
Right.
What would you say to the 15-year-old Melissa?
Ugh. Oh man,
Is there something?
stay in school. I should, like I didn't go right to college after I graduated when I was 17, and I was pregnant with the child I gave up for adoption. So I would say the 15-year-old Melissa, I would say you need to look at your life and look what you're doing to yourself. You're on the wrong path, because I think from the moment my mom passed away and I realized how alone I felt, I knew right then it wasn't going to be good. It just, it was hard.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I believe that unless you experience it, you can't say, like, I understand. You can't.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all your
Yeah, you're
life.
welcome.
It's so
It's good for me too, you know?
powerful that you went all through this, and now you're writing your books and everyone is reading them, and everyone is can't wait for you to write more. So you have your
Mhm.
life in a very nice path.
Right. I feel like I'm on a good path now.
They
Yeah.
say some of the best artists, whether it's books, music, come from some form of chaos in their life, like Eminem and all the best out there. So
Oh, there's so much chaos. It's just like I have a lot of health problems too. Like my whole left side, I call my unlucky left side, you know, a hernia on the left side, back surgery on the left side, shoulder surgery on the left side, tibia fracture on my left side. It's like I have a whole left side that's unlucky on me. So it's like physically, I have problems too. So it's like you might see that in my stories when I describe like an injury. They're like, man, that's like serious detail right there, because probably already happened to me. Broken toe. I mean, oh, left side. I don't know why, but my left side is so unlucky. I just say, when just throw it away and start with a new left side of my body. Like sometimes my hands like won't work. I'll I have to record on my phone a lot when I write, because I'll start typing and then my fingers, I don't know, they don't know if it's coming from my neck or I have tears in both my shoulders, but my fingers will like, they won't push the keys. They just sit there and they won't work. I don't know what it is. Sometimes they don't work. And then I just end up having to stop. Or other times, because I don't sleep well at night because of pain, I will be like trying to get stuff done and I'm like falling asleep. I'm falling asleep sitting up and I have to go lay down and take a nap because I don't sleep good at night. Like I'd say the most I get is like 5 hours, and it's interrupted 5 hours. And then, but a lot of times it's like 3 hours or so. Sometimes it can be pretty bad. So
Well, you make it though. You make it happen, because whatever
oh yeah.
struggles you have everything in front of you, and you have your word count. You write so many things. You have the anthologies going on. So you
in
are a
other
real
words,
tough
nothing stops you.
fighter.
Yeah.
It
You are a
doesn't.
fighter. Nothing stops
My
you.
husband's always, when he's home and he's like, "Will you sit down?" And I'm like, if I sit down, I'm gonna fall asleep. I got things to do. I just go. And my mom was like that a lot too. She was very like, she sped walk everywhere. She was a very active, hyper woman. So I feel like I got that part from her. It's like she didn't like to sit down either. I feel like sitting down when there's stuff to do, I feel like I'm failing to do something that and get stuff taken care of. It's like I'm always buzzing around. So my husband's like, what do you do? Sit around all day, watch bonbons? If he comes home and there's like the floor's got stuff on it and it's like a mess. And I'm like, I don't sit down and watch TV at all day. I don't watch TV till he gets home. I'm like riding or picking up the house or taking the dog for a walk. It's like I'm trying to stay off the couch because I know if I sit on the couch, I'm going to be asleep.
Well, again, we love this. We thank you for joining us. We have hit the hour. It's 2 minutes past. So, in conclusion, anything to conclude, Rania?
That, I feel grateful that we had this Zoom call today.
Can't hear you.
Can't hear you, honey.
Yeah. That I feel grateful that we had this Zoom call today. And I got to meet you instead of just having texts and messages and Facebook online presence. And I actually saw you.
Yes.
I'm glad. I mean, now you know I'm like an open book, and I don't care. It's everybody in my life, and I know it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's good for me, and it's good for others to understand sometimes while what I write, and like how it impacts me inside. So I feel like is important. Like I've done a couple other Zoom calls and I haven't gotten this in depth, I don't think, into my life, but no one's ever asked. So you asked the right question, so it pulled out the right answers from me, and so it made it a little more personal on this call.
Well, we certainly appreciate it. We do.
That's
Thank
no
you so
problem at
much.
all.
And thank you, Mandy. And Christy, we just saw your comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You guys if you guys have any questions, you can message me or anything like that. I really appreciate you guys being here.
And there you
I
are,
wanted to talk
Carla.
to you too,
Yeah.
because we've written together and I've not ever gotten to talk to you. So
I know.
Yeah.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
Carla too.
yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to head out. So very nice to meet you. And we look forward to reading more of your work. And
Well, thank you.
I'm sure we'll see Carla, Christy, and Mandy's name out and about, as the Canadians say.
Out and about.
Out and about. And
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on the call. Maybe next time we could do it when it's like an evening time, and we'll plan it out a little better, so I can tell my husband he can just leave me in the room alone and let me have my hour.
sounds good.
Then we'll probably have like 25 people on after this. They're like, she's crazy. She talks about everything.
No, you're awesome. So
Awesome.
Good night from Greece.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.